Well, good evening. Good evening. How's everybody doing tonight? God bless everybody on this podcast tonight. We're going to be talking about some juicy stuff here. We're going to be talking about President Trump and the pardoning of Diddy. So we're going to be discussing that tonight because it is in the news. Yes. And the thing that we like to do is to raise awareness and point to Jesus always. And that's one of the reasons why we're on the podcast. So if you like the video, you like, halfway in, go ahead and hit the like button and subscribe and share the videos. Again, my name is Vincent Rose. The purpose of me doing these podcasts is to raise awareness and point to Jesus. He's our only hope. And I hope by the end of this broadcast, you'll realize that Jesus Christ is our only hope. There is no other hope. You can try to hope in man, but then the Bible says that some trust in chariots, some trust in horses, but I would trust in the name of the Lord. And so tonight, what we're going to be talking about is what is Trump really afraid of? When it comes down to it, is there something going on? And is this something that's going to start the fall of the American justice system? When it comes down to it, we've been seeing in the news all of the atrocities that P. Diddy has been doing in and around Hollywood and also in the hip hop world. He's a gangster, he's a thug, but then also he is a music mogul who possibly has ties to the Mossad, has ties to the CIA, could be a CIA operative. Candace Owens was doing a lot of talking about that. And I'm going to let you see what she has to say about it. And maybe that might kind of get us kicked off there because she did talk about it quite a bit. And I thought, it was interesting how she put it together. So let's hear what she has to say about it.
Most legal experts agree that if Diddy's case only involved the Mann Act, then they probably wouldn't have filed charges against him at all. But the question is, why would Trump move to interject on a person that has clearly been involved in something very sinister? Why is their Department of Justice even thinking or weighing this case at all? I have an answer.
AI writes my copy and
yeah, I know you're going to have an answer, Candace. So her answer is going to be that he is actually connected to much darker people, people that have some particular connection to Israel, maybe connection to the CIA. This is one of the things that Candace is really saying about this whole thing. And I thought it was really interesting the way she put it, and how she put it out there. Again, as we watch this thing unfold, it's a very different Donald Trump than we had actually seen before. This Donald Trump is one which is actually taking, he's doing a lot of things that we didn't think he would ever do. And so this is very interesting. It does fall into the category of the same kind of deception that we've been talking about since maybe 2014. I think since 2014 we've been talking about this kind of deception, but it's really kind of coming out in the open.
It's because
right
both
now.
of these were two very sophisticated blackmail operations that were being run by the deep state. And by the deep state, I mean the CIA and the Mossad, who have been working together since, they shot JFK. And by they, I'm referring to the CIA, and LB Johnson was involved in this. The precursor to AIPAC was involved in this. Everybody knows what happened in this country, okay? It's so silly to call this a conspiracy theory anymore. And since then, I don't think there's a difference between the CIA and the Mossad, frankly. That's my position. And so these operations are alike. Because in order for the state, the deep state, to maintain control over the population, they have to be able to influence opinions. They have to be able to control all of us. There's more of us than there are of them.
Okay, and so that what she's saying is that basically that the way that to control people is through blackmail, and one of the blackmail that's being done, or the way they blackmail people, is to get them in compromising situations where they are actually part of this this I don't want to say the name of it, but again, this ring of people who are abusers of certain people who are we people, right? So let's just say it like that, so we don't get in trouble with YouTube algorithm, because again, they don't want this information out, and so hey, we got to be careful how we say it. But that's where she's going with this, and I just thought it was pretty bold of her to just come right out and say it and put
right?
it out
So they
there
need to
like
make
that.
sure that we don't get wise to what they've been up to, which means you have to control the athletes and the celebrities because they have influence. You have to control the politicians because they have the ability to vote on policy. And yeah, influence is the name of the game. That is the reason that they want to control celebrities. This is where Diddy comes into play, right? Diddy is hosting these parties. Everyone wants to go to a Diddy party. And everyone wants to go to Diddy's all-white party, whatever he was known for. You get into Hollywood, the first thing you want to do is have an invite, and there are cameras wired everywhere, and drugs are being passed around because they want to get you in a compromising situation. It's exactly what Epstein was doing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. And so how deep does this rabbit hole go when it comes down to President Donald Trump and the things that are going on there? What would John the Baptist say? Well, the John the Baptist would say that, there was a bunch of snakes and vipers, and that's what he went out into the wilderness to preach. And he preached that, about the people of his day and the corruption of his day. And he was preaching against, there were two people who were in a royal position, and they were carrying on a incestuous and adulterous relationship where they were involved in a act of incest and adultery. And so John the Baptist preached about them and continued to preach. And of course, John the Baptist ended up with his head on a charger, right? So that's one of the ways they get to you. John the Baptist was made unalive because of his speaking out against this thing. But here, a lot of people don't want to face the consequences of standing up for truth. Could it be that Donald Trump is actually afraid of what will happen if he actually spoke out and spoke the truth out? Or could it be maybe possibly maybe it's not that at all. Maybe it really has to do with that Donald Trump is really a friend of Diddy, and Diddy and he are friends. But again, here's what Donald Trump has to say about Diddy, and I think we have some statements from Donald Trump about it.
That Aubrey O'Day touted her time working with Diddy in the 2000s girl group Danity Kane as having prepared her for the business world, prompting Trump to defend the artist and entrepreneur when Aubrey didn't want to discuss the matter further.
I am a very strict and focused businesswoman because working for Diddy for 6 years trained me to have to be perfect.
Working for Diddy?
Absolutely.
I love Diddy. You know, he's a good friend of mine. He's a good guy.
He expects.
Is he a good guy?
I don't want to answer that question.
Wow.
Wow, that's something she don't want to answer it. Donald Trump is over there. Is he a good guy? Is he? Good and well, Diddy's not a good guy. So here we are listening to this particular thing. Listen, the Bible talks about lawlessness will abound in the land, right? And that's what will happen. We can find that in Matthew chapter 24, verse 12, because the lawlessness will abound, the love of many will grow cold. And we have now, according to the Bible, the mystery of lawlessness at work. Isn't it a mystery why these people continue to allow the good to actually be punished and the bad to go get out of jail? You get a get out of jail free card when you're bad, actually. And so we have the vice versa. We have the opposite happening. Good is called evil and evil is called good. And this is the kind of society that we live in. And it is disappointing, my brothers and sisters. I would say it is strongly disappointing because, if you believe in justice, if you believe in truth, if you believe that truth really matters, you don't want to see people go around and just kind of blatantly ignore the law with these high crimes, right? You don't want to see that. But again, here, many of his strongest supporters are actually getting pretty upset with Donald Trump about this whole matter. It's kind of interesting that many of the people who are even on the left, they are wondering what is going on. Many people want to know: have you lost it? Are you going to do anything? Are you going to bring justice? Everybody wants justice. Everybody's seeking justice, and it just seems like it's not coming fast enough. It's not coming with any kind of respect for anything, right? And so now we're seeing what we would call his true colors, right? At least you know that he isn't racist like they've been saying. Okay, well, Donald Trump is racist. No, he's got a lot of black friends, and he's got a lot of white friends too, but he's got a lot of black friends as well. And I've even seen him hugged up with Al Sharpton. At one time I've seen him with Jesse Jackson. As a matter of fact, I don't know if you know this, but he gave Jesse Jackson a permanent spot in the Trump Tower when he awarded Jesse Jackson a office in the Trump Tower to run his Rainbow Operation. I think that was what it was, Rainbow Coalition. At that particular time, Donald Trump was instrumental in getting him in the Rainbow or getting in on the Rainbow Coalition and helping with Jesse Jackson's even Jesse Jackson's campaign. I think that's one of the things that happened here. But the news is actually asking the questions about. Let's kind of listen in. Say here.
From what I read, I don't know, he didn't tell me that, but I'd read some little bit nasty statements in the paper all of a sudden. It's different. You become a much different person when you run for politics and you do what's right. I could do other things, and I'm sure he'd like me, and I'm sure other people would like me, but it wouldn't be as good for our country. As we said, our country's doing really well because of what we're doing. So it's not a popularity contest. So I don't know. I would certainly look at the facts. If I think somebody was mistreated, whether they like me or don't like me, it wouldn't have any impact on me. Mr.
President. Well, here's what he found out. That Diddy said a lot of things about
Apprentice. You mentioned once in 2012 that
during the time that he was running for president, Diddy, of course, took the other side and started running with narratives about Donald Trump being racist and other things when he knew that Donald Trump was really not that. So why would Diddy do that? We don't really know, except for it's a possibility that Diddy was supposed to play his role in this whole thing. But now Donald Trump is coming out with a still that it is a possibility that he would pardon Diddy. And that's one of the things that he still is maintaining. He's still saying that, which is very, very interesting that he's saying that. So I think, in my opinion, even though this is jarring news, it's very confusing. Many of the Trump's strongest supporters see Diddy as guilty, right? And not just in shady business, but long-standing allegations of abuse and exploitation. Yet Trump is still thinking about pardoning Diddy. And not only Diddy, but even the Ghislaine Maxwell is what he was even alluding to. He said, I won't rule that out. So what is it that these people have on him that would cause him to ignore all of these long-standing allegations of abuse and exploitation, even though, again, the current case is really not about domestic abuse. But, if you're like me, you've seen the videos of Diddy running around in a bathrobe, kicking this woman, in a hotel, and he's kicking her. And it just seems like it's the craziest thing you ever want to see, that this man attacking a woman in a hotel. But, again, Maybe I shouldn't show this to you, but it is one of the things that actually was occurring. And so even though it's not a domestic, they didn't even bring him in for this, but this is the kind of person that we're talking about. So if we're talking about this kind of person, it's very alarming, right? It's very alarming that even Trump would even consider it. But he says again, even though Diddy has been he's been accused of domestic abuse in the court of public opinion, right? And I know public opinion sometimes can be damaging, but I mean, with this much evidence, we got to know that something's going on with this guy, right? So for much of the MAGA base, they're looking at uh, Diddy as guilty. And I'm sure many people on the left are looking at Diddy as guilty. It was the first time I ever seen a bunch of men cry. They had a bunch of men that actually came out and were crying, and they were looking at Diddy as guilty, right? So what's really going on? One of the oddest things that's happening, it seems to be an eroding of our trust in the system. Now, if we look above and fly above this whole thing and then take a bird's eye view of America and just look at America the way it is right now, you can't really trust in the system. You can't trust that, justice will be done, that, they're going to eventually right will rule over good will go over evil, right? That's what we kind of want. That we want good to win over evil. But right now we're kind of having a problem seeing that happen, because it seems to be that it just won't ever get straightened out, right? That's what we're looking at. We're just kind of looking at it just won't get straightened out. So hey, listen, Claudia, you want to come on and talk about it? Yeah, that'd be great for you to come on and talk about it. I got a friend of mine once, he said, listen, I want to get in on this. But yeah. Well, if you got you still have the meeting. Claudia is checking me out, and he says he still wants to get on to talk about it. If you still got the meeting link, then go ahead and use it, brother. I'll let you in if you want to come on in. Anyway, yeah. But anyway, like I'm saying here, just want to look at this whole thing. We have an eroding system of a collapse that is happening in America. It's like one person was saying we have a criminal justice system that is broken. Now, I know that most people don't want to say it like that. We want to say that we're on the road to making America great again. Many of the MAGAs get angry with you about this. As a matter of fact, as soon as you see anybody going to talk about Trump, you don't want anybody to say anything about him. And I understand that. I understand your trepidation, your fear about what I'm saying. But if you're really honest, how good is the American justice system? Is the American justice system, is it really working for you? Or are we seeing something now that is taking place in America that makes you want to say, hey, I just wish I'm hungry for something to go right here. I'm hungry for righteousness. I really need God right now. We need God to come and straighten this thing out. I don't know if you feel like I do, but I don't think it's working the way it's supposed to. I just really don't see it that way. And so, again, there may be some people who want to comment about that too. Let me get you over in the chat here. And I see that there are a lot of people over here in the chat, but just kind of looking at this here. Let's see here. Laurie, let's see. Shaw, you said, talking about the only color that he sees is green. Well, yeah, that's the only color that really matters in this case. And, there's a lot of people who are possibly even looking at this as a racial kind of situation. And they are seeing this as something that, as we see this thing here, you're seeing it as maybe a black and white situation. It's unfortunate that many people see it that way. But, again, as we look at this whole thing, a lot of the MAGA base are pretty upset about it because they are seeing this as a, we thought Trump was for us, and now he's for everybody that's corrupt. And then when they pulled a black man into it, it could have been even that they want to come and lynch Trump too. When it comes down to it, I got to be honest. This is getting pretty strange around here. And again, when you're a conservative, it's very difficult to sort this stuff out because we know that truth really matters, right? Conservatives know that we're working for the truth. We're working for God. We're supposed to be working for God. Claudia, do you have my link? I sent it to you on your phone. I don't know, brother. I sent it to you on phone. All you got to do is use the link. If you use the link, you can get right on in. I just sent it to you. Anyway, but yeah, let's see. Daryl, you said, let's see. Well, good evening to you. And let's see. And let's see. Abia Nathan, we are of a different kingdom. Amen to that. I agree with you, brother. But a lot of people don't know it. A lot of people don't know it, and they believe that the kingdom of God is here right now. And so, no, you got to use my link. There's no Zoom here. We don't do Zoom. We don't do Zoom here. We're doing Restream. Yeah, but so we are of a different kingdom, but there are a lot of people who are living in this world like, it is the kingdom of, the kingdom of God is supposed to be here, right? And it makes you really angry, right? As we're looking at this whole thing with Diddy. So I think it's a deliberate, I'm gonna just let the cat out the bag. I think it's deliberate. I think that what they want you to believe is that the justice system is broken. In the last possibly maybe 25 years, we have seen some extraordinary things happen in the criminal justice system that just doesn't make any sense. Just think about that. They have gone, they're not only coming from the left, far left, they are actually coming from the right, the conservative right. I mean, it's like the whole system is being burned down and they're allowing it to be burned down because nobody's standing for righteousness. I mean, it would have been just unheard of if 25 years ago we had a president that was talking about interceding on the behalf of the criminal justice system and pardoning somebody simply because that person was treated like you. How did Trump put it? Trump said, here's what Trump said about it, why he's interested in the Diddy case. He said, they treated me unfairly and they are doing the same thing to him. And he just doesn't like the fact that he believes that the federal agents unfairly targeted Diddy. And that's a pretty strong statement. He says it's not just sympathy, it's Trump equating Diddy's situation with his own legal battles. So some kind of way, we got a president in office who feels like he is the same or similar, or he can relate to this guy who is out in the hallway beating his girlfriend in a bathrobe. I mean, how crazy is that? And we know when really this was not what he's been persecuted for. But I mean, didn't Trump actually come in saying, "Oh, I don't smoke and I don't drink, I I don't do any drugs. And didn't he come in with this supposedly clean image? Now he's relating to some of the most shady characters, Epstein, right? And then Ghislaine Maxwell. And these people have a long history of CIA operations, right? They are both involved with Israel very heavily. Ghislaine Maxwell's father was a double agent for both the British and for Israel, allegedly. And he ended up in a very tragic accident, thrown off of his own yacht, body naked, laying face down on the water, right? And that's how Ghislaine Maxwell's father died. And then he received an award from the state of Israel, saying he was one of the greatest assets that they ever did have. I mean, he was the publisher of the Mirror, the Mirror news, the news, I guess what you call the news publication. I'm sorry. So he was the owner of the Mirror news publication. And not only that, his daughters owned the Google before it was Google, right? They owned Magellan. And Magellan was one of the search engines that collected data and did a lot of web crawling before they turned all of that over to Google. And so their connections to Israel, and then also their operations in terms of trafficking minors and that kind of thing, having their own island, taking those people who were wealthy celebrities and politicians to the island, all of this stuff just together, it stinks of espionage. It sounds like espionage. It sounds like criminal activity. Yet, even with Diddy's taking celebrities to his house, setting them up with compromising situations with trafficking, prostitutes, and many of them underage. And so they know this. The government knows this. The CIA knows. They all know this. But at the same time, they are allowing this corruption to go on unnoticed until somebody steps out of line. And then I guess when they step out of line, then of course they come and put you in jail. And there may be a lot of good FBI and CIA agents who really are working for good. But then, then there is this other element out there where these people are actually involved in espionage, bribery, and all the rest, right? And so this is all part of the America and the world that we actually do live in, right? Very, very interesting indeed. But again, as we look at this, we're talking about Trump pardoning, and this pardoning talk is why many of the MAGAs have left Trump. And Trump said, I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. He says, as a matter of fact, sometimes I think he called them one time, he called them stupid people. You know what I mean? So we're looking at a whole different Trump than we looked at when he first came to be this person who was supposed to be the outsider. And he was supposed to be fighting the swamp. Now he's actually part of the swamp. And I'm gonna tell you this. I already knew he was a swamp when he first actually began to start making his first decisions, right? And then you can see right off the bat that he's part of the swamp that he's supposed to be cleaning up. But again, judges are under fire for political decisions. Celebrities are being punished for actually standing up against power. And the confusion that we're seeing today is just inconsistent. We lost trust in just about everybody and any person out there that might be trying to stand up for the right thing. You can tell that times are shifting. and it's confusing, it's inconsistent, and we have a loss of trust. Could it be intentional? I think it is. Like I said, I think it's really the goal is to shake our faith in the American justice system to replace it with something else. That's what we're looking at. We're looking at a destruction, a takedown of the American justice system, just like we saw with 9/11. It was a huge takedown. Now we have the collapse of the American justice system so that they can implement a new global system that will probably be based in what AI is getting ready to do. And they're probably going to have no longer a judge or lawyers. You just go to the AI and AI will figure out whether you're innocent or guilty. And you'll have to have all of that done through this computerized system. It's just my opinion, right? Again, now the Bible says that again in 2 Thessalonians, we are going to see the mystery of lawlessness is spread. And it was already at work during the time of Paul, but now it is really unfolding, the mystery of lawlessness. And it makes us wonder what in the world is going on. Why is all of this happening? So somebody's talking about my let's see here. You talking about my hat? Yeah, okay, whatever, brother. If you don't like the hat, go buy me one or shut up. People, it is amazing what people do. If you don't like my hat, go buy me one and shut up. But it's amazing. And then people have the nerve to talk about what you wear. I'm just going to ignore you. Let's go on. So what I'm talking about now is I'm really talking about is the mystery of iniquity, the mystery of lawlessness. There is a bunch of lawlessness happening right now in our world. And what we have to do is we have to pray about this lawlessness because it's chaos. It's chaos. And it's offering, again, as we look at this new world order, we're seeing what they're doing. They're bringing order out of chaos, order out of chaos. And that's what we're seeing. Trump sees himself as a, kind of like a gateway. And so what he's doing is that he was brought in to bring in the new world order. And so he's bringing it in. And the way he's bringing it in through a lawlessness. And that's what he did before. When he left office, we had January 6th, and everybody started acting up with lawlessness. Now, at the same time, there were a lot of people who were involved in January 6th that were all involved in this entire, what do you call this affair? They were involved in being like imposters. They were out there acting their role. They had on their special outfits. You had your Proud Boys. You had this guy with the big horn on his head and the red paint and all that kind of thing. And he's supposed to be representing MAGA, but there really wasn't a real movement. I wasn't buying it. And maybe you buying it. I wasn't buying it. I did not think at all that was the true thing. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that on Rumble because I can't really talk about it here. And so I'm going to meet you on Rumble and we'll be talking about it a little bit more on Rumble. So if you guys would like to meet me on Rumble, then we can do it. Oh, okay. Well, I'm sorry, brother. You said not my hat. Okay. I was about to say, because I got this hat. I got this hat and I think it was in Europe over there, in Europe somewhere. And I said, well, I'll pick me up a hat and put it on tonight. And I was going to wear my European hat. And sometimes folks look at it and say, oh, this is a Illuminati hat and all this kind of thing. I want you to see this hat says Holland. I was in Holland and I picked this hat up in Holland. So I'm about to say, you don't insult me about my hat. There are a lot of folks who likes to do that. But anyway, we're going to be on Rumble tonight, and I'm going to be talking about some other things, some deeper things that I can't really get in on here. We're going to hear a little bit more about that. Then I'm going to switch over to the topic of what is going on with RFK. And I want to bring that up in just a little while too. So if you want to hang out, go over there to my Rumble channel and join over there. And the Rumble channel link is right here if you'd like to. Well, this actually is just a link here for all my channels. So if you want to go over there, you can join me over there on Rumble. And I'm going to be on Rumble for maybe about 30 more minutes to kind of talk to you guys in private, because again, on this platform, you just can't, there are just certain things you can't say, right? If you also, the way, if you're going to just put it straight into your search engine, you just go to Linktree /Vincent Rhodes, linktr.ee/Vincent Rhodes. And then that's the way you actually get over there to my channel there. And so we're going to be getting off. God bless you. Remember, until next time, this truth will set you free. So again, those people who are going to be joining us on Rumble, don't go away. We're going to be right on Rumble. Let's get ready to Rumble tonight and talk a little bit more. I'll be talking, like I said, for about All right, all right. Well, we're back, and we're gonna go over here and check out what we are. Let's see. Hold on. Let me give me a minute here, guys, to get this straightened out. Let's bring it down. All right. Okay. There we go. There we go. So we're gonna hold on. Let me give me a minute. Let's get this thing here straightened out here, guys. There you go. All right. Now I'm back. So okay, so we're gonna be talking about again the entire thing about this Epstein cover up, Diddy, and the entire the entire mess that's going on right now with this decision that Trump is making to pardon all of these criminals, right? And that's one of the things that a lot of people want to know. Why is he doing this? Why is Trump doing this? Well, again, if it came down to this, that they were asking the question, were you involved in the Epstein situation? Were you part of it? And so Trump, of course, had this to say. He had to say that he was not. But then when we look at it a lot more deeper, we can see that it seems like he was actually involved in the entire scandal all along. And again, there may be some people who disagree. And, being here on this Rumbles channel, you can kind of see that this Rumble channel is all about conservatism, Donald Trump, and rah, rah, rah. But at the same time, we have to look at the truth and look at it's a possibility that what we believe about Trump is really not true. The things that a lot of people have been, trying to say that, Trump is a great guy. He's doing all of these great things for America. Well, I don't see nothing that he's been doing for America. I see mostly he's been doing a lot of things for Israel. And that's where Candace is coming in here to talk about it. So let me see if I can get her on to kind of like share her thoughts about it again.
So down and actually deleted that portion that you just saw.
Let's go back.
Majority of the time he was doing this to the politicians and people that were in business. So he's running it that way. And then you have Diddy, who's taking care of Hollywood. It's the reason why, if you'll recall, I never covered the Diddy trial. I never thought the Diddy trial was worth covering because it was just so obviously a show trial. I knew it was a show trial because what Diddy was doing was a Fed operation, and the Fed, for whatever reason, whenever they investigate themselves, they find out they're not guilty of anything. There were so many signs leading up to this moment that it was the state putting on a show trial, okay? To jog your memory, the artist formerly known as Kanye West was the first when he was having a mental breakdown to signal to people that Diddy was a Fed. Remember this? He went on to Drink Champs. He was having a mental breakdown. And then he randomly said this.
But as far as Meek Mills, Puff Daddy, whoever, none of these all you fake hard niggas, fuck you. Hold on. Okay. All you fake hard niggas, fuck you. You know what I'm saying? I don't give a because you can't shoot nobody anyway. And the reason why you got to talk is because you did a deal, you Fed. You know what I'm saying? That's why you got to come at me, because part of the deal for you to be a do all that and get out of jail is that you promise that you're going to go pull my co-car. So y'all niggas shut the up about me.
Drink Champs pulled the episode down and actually deleted that portion that you just saw, and then they put the episode back up. They deleted the reference to Diddy being a Fed because he did a deal with prosecutors. And part of that deal, remember when he was shooting in the club with J-Lo, was that he would control other rappers. Kanye just said that. He put that out.
Now, again, this one here is mind-blowing because, again, when we talk about the mystery of iniquity, this is the mystery of iniquity being played out completely, right? And what we're seeing here, amazingly, is just an unraveling of all of America, and the truth is coming out so strong. I don't know how long social media can last with all of this truth coming out, right? And so this just unbelievable how much we've been lied to. Now, again, like I said, Ghislaine Maxwell, father, and I talked about that, and Candace was saying it, that Ghislaine Maxwell's father had a publishing company, and he's been publishing propaganda in the United States for years. And not only has he been publishing this stuff for years, but he's also been publishing it to our children for years. And our children have been reading the McGraw-Hill books, all of those books that he was the one that published those books, put them out. Ghislaine Maxwell, who was also an asset, has been getting this information out on the internet. She's been controlling the internet with Magellan. So when all that first came out, all of those people have been involved in that, and they just happen to be of Jewish descent, or at least from Israel, right? So, again, like I said, we don't really know whether they were Jewish or not, but it's just kind of all of these people.
There, it sounded crazy, but he wasn't the only crazy person who put that out there. Obviously, notoriously, the biggest person was Jonathan Odie, who we all thought was crazy, and definitely is crazy because he shot up the Trump hotel, the Trump property in Miami, and then was saying all sorts of stuff about being a sex slave for Diddy. But in the land before time, when none of us knew about what Diddy was up to, you get this guy who sits down and he's like, yeah, I was a sex slave for Diddy, and Diddy works for the feds, and they give him a plane so he looks like he's got this money because he's a rapper. But actually what's happening is they're running drugs. Our government is getting drugs over the border on rapper planes. And then he said that Diddy was into weird stuff, like watching Cassie have sex with other people. Frankly, that's exactly what he said. He's like, I was the person, and Diddy liked that. And everyone said he was crazy, myself included. I thought he was definitely crazy because what? At this time, we thought that Cassie was like an innocent girlfriend of Diddy. They've been in a long-term relationship. Who would believe that? I'll jog your memory here. This was Jonathan Odie. His accent is a bit thick, but we did put some captions on this, so take a listen.
Do you know Sean Combs?
Puff Daddy?
Yeah.
P. Diddy, whatever you call himself. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, he's part of what's called the Boule. The Boule is a branch of the Illuminati.
Okay.
It's the black people. I had settlement with Sean, okay? And he belongs to that agenda. That's why he's so famous. They land all the contracts. It's his attorneys. I had sex with Cassie and Sean. Basically, he would masturbate, tell me what to do with Cassie. I had like 15 encounters, and I heard a lot of business. Because what they would do is Sean talks a lot on the on the phone and on the TV with speakers and stuff, and I was like a sex slave, okay? The hip hop agenda is an agenda to move drugs all over the United States. You need to reform the DEA. They move all the dope, okay, all the dope on private jets, which don't get screened by
customs,
by the inside the United States.
Wow, it's amazing. Boy, I tell you, you know, we are really living in the last days, boy, I tell you. And the corruption that is happening in the United States, I know that the United States has always been corrupt, but today I believe the corruption is even worse. It's off the charts, you know. And so I don't know. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know what you guys think about it, but we are living in some very, very dark times, you know. So hey, that's what we're talking about tonight. We're talking about the we're talking about the decisions that Donald Trump is making, and it's almost starting to look like decisions that are being made by an anti-Christian person, right? An antichrist spirit. Because if you have this much darkness going on, and like this guy said, it was the Black Boule. They're part of the Illuminati, is what he said. There was a time when people didn't even believe in Illuminati. I don't know if you remember that, but there was a time when you know, if you say the Illuminati, everybody thought you was a nut, because no one could imagine it being this dark, right? But we are living in some very, very dark times.
If it adds up for you, maybe when he said it, it sounded a bit far-fetched, but then we got a confirmation because Cassie was asked about that under oath. And yeah, here's the headline, New York Post. Trump club shooter who claimed that he was Diddy's sex slave was hired by music mogul. Cassie testifies. So if he was telling the truth about all that weird sex stuff, are we to think that he was just making up the part about the Diddy and other rappers being a part of some group that are really just a part of a broader Fed operation? Are we supposed to think that that guy was coordinating with Ye and they came up with this lie by themselves? And it just happened to fact check true that he was a sex slave of Cassie. And we found that out again years later. You got to open your eyes and pay attention that these operations happen everywhere.
Okay. Everybody's got to open their eyes. Everybody really needs to open their eyes. Now, here's the thing. Someone wrote to me that, again, the scripture says the natural mind cannot receive the things of God. So a person with a natural mind doesn't see anything going on at all. But if you have a spiritual mind, you can see that these are the schemes of Satan. And Satan is upping his schemes because he knows his time is short. We used to have at least a few people that would tell the truth, especially if they went into the legal system. But do you remember what happened during 2020? They had what you call Operation Lockstep. And during Operation Lockstep, everybody who you thought was a reliable person, who you thought, you know, we thought we had so many safeguards to keep anything like this from ever happening, like, for instance, the world just be taken over in a totalitarian government where everybody does the same thing. But every mayor, every judge, every doctor who had taken the Hippocratic oath, every government worker, all of them came together to bring about the most evil, sinister, environment or world that we could ever live in. I mean, it became like we were taken over by aliens from outer space, or some sort of like, I don't know what you could call them. You could call them lizards, right? If you believe in that kind of thing. It just seemed like they were lizards. So again, as we look at this, right, Kaylin, the corruption is off the charts. It's just off the charts. And so we are looking at this, and it's astonishing. It's just astonishing how evil and corrupt we have become, how far we come from God, where it doesn't matter to anyone whether they're lying. And one of the things I was just looking at today was the report that they were giving from, it was RFK's organization, right? RFK has an organization, and his organization that he was running was called the Children's Defense Fund, right? And in the report of the Children's Defense Fund, they would always send a video, show me what kind of battles they are fighting on a daily basis to make sure that the world is safe for children. And they were talking about that there is a new law that they are passing to allow Monsanto to put glyphosate in your food and them not be sued. And they said the judges and the Democrats and the Republicans all are working hard trying to act like they are on the opposite side, but they all voted for it. Basically, they all voted for the ability for Monsanto and Bayer to use these chemicals on our food and push these out to the farmers and require the farmers to use them. And they have this vote that they put out, and they've all voted to allow this immunity, just like they have immunity from any person who gets injured by a vaccine. They are looking for a immunity for any repercussions people suffer from eating poisonous food that has been treated with their products, their herbicides and their industrial products that they put on your lettuce and your tomatoes and your cucumbers and that kind of thing. And then, of course, Bill Gates has been given the green light to put his coating on the outside of our vegetables. And no one is saying anything. And it's just the most evil thing that you can think about. And yet no one is saying a word. Trump's not saying anything. And the chemtrails that are happening right now, Trump's not saying anything about that. And like we were just talking about, the criminal activity is off the charts. All of this stuff that's happening is just off the charts. Let's hear what Candace has to say. She's so much better at articulating.
And so when it came to the matter of Diddy, okay, for those of us who actually read the lawsuit that was filed by Little Rod, the producer, who had, he said, hours upon hours of footage proving all of his claims. The most significant page of that lawsuit, which there has been a full media blackout on, was what he alleged about Lucian Grange, who is the president and at the top of Universal Music, right? He's got a lot of power, and this is what it said in that lawsuit. It reads, according to Mr. Jones, whenever defendant Grange, that's Lucian Grange, visited Mr. Combs at his homes, It would be in the evening, and he and Mr. Combs would disappear for hours in Mr. Combs' bedroom. Defendant Grange sponsored and attended several Love album listening parties at Mr. Combs' home in Los Angeles, California. These parties were sponsored by the defendants and UMG, that's Universal Music Group. As evidenced above, these parties had sex workers and underage girls present. During these parties, defendant Grange knew or should have known that Mr. Combs was drugging the attendees through laced bottles of tequila and Ciroc vodka. It is no secret that Mr. Combs had specific bottles of alcohol designated for females and other bottles that were designated for his staff, his artists, and himself. This fact was detailed by former artists and bodyguards of Mr. Combs. As a sponsor of these events, defendant Grange had a duty and an obligation to ensure that sex workers and underage girls were not present and that Mr. Combs was not spiking the alcohol with date rape drugs. Okay. Do you recall having Lucien Grange testify, be called to testify, anything like that? Okay. So you're telling me the person above Diddy is this guy and they're just not interested in speaking to him at all. Also in that lawsuit, obviously, Christina Karam was mentioned as the Ghislaine Maxwell, the person who made everything happen, the person who made sure that Diddy was constantly on drugs. Again, this is all allegedly. We're reading a lawsuit filed by Little Rod. I don't know that this is true, but I do know that if I am the feds and I'm trying to bring down an operation that we're not executing, I am certainly going to bring these people into the courtroom. But they weren't there.
My name is Sean Whistler, and I am founder and
then it gets even more interesting when you learn, and I've talked about this in the Epstein, our Epstein series that we've just begun. One of the things is changing your name, right? One of these elements that I instantly now distrust that tells me that we should be paying attention to someone is that men don't just change their names. Remember Robert Maxwell, he had 4 names. That's just weird for no reason. Lucien Grange also changed his name. He used to be Michael G. And before that, he was an Epstein. I just don't trust people that change their names. Check out this article. I found this out in The Guardian, by the way, so you can fact check this is true. Forgotten and overlooked how Jewish designers dressed the Beatles and changed global fashion. Now, this article is about his father, Cecil G. And it tells us that Cecil G was actually Sasha Epstein. And then he became Cecil G, but he's here with his sons. And it says right here, Cecil G with his 3 sons, Roland, Nigel, and Michael G. And to the right there, that would be Lucien Grange. I guess he was Michael G, but now he's Lucien Grange. He's not in the UK, he's here. And I guess he went from working for the Beatles and climbed his way up, and now he's this huge record exec. There were so many conspiracy theories. Like, I wasn't alive for the Beatles era, but man, I'm starting to wonder about all of those Beatles conspiracy theories, because people then thought that there was some weird stuff that happened, right? People that died around them in mysterious circumstances. People that actually even believed that one of the people that died was a member of the Beatles. There's like the Paul McCartney is dead theory. A lot of weird stuff. Conspiracies, want to be clear.
Yeah. And, when you think about the Beatles, they also were Satan worshipers because they were involved with the Church of Satan. And then you also had Beatles, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Heart Club Band, right? And I don't understand. Let's see, the cover of the record. When you look at it, let's go to it and check it out here if we can. There it is there. Okay, and so here it is here. And all of this stuff has to do with Satan. I think all of this, everything that's happening in America now is satanic. Right. Let's take a look here. There it is right there. And this guy here is Aleister Crowley on their album, on the Beatles album. And you thought the Beatles was just about a bunch of kids. You know, you might have thought that the Beatles was just a bunch of kids singing, you know, and that is kind of how I thought about it until somebody started educating me. You know, and then you got Kiss. The Kiss was Kings in Satan's Service. Well, they were trying back then to corrupt the minds of the young people. But here, this whole thing, Aleister Crowley. Well, who is Aleister Crowley? Aleister Crowley is part of the NASA program, right? He was he trained up the person who was responsible for rocketry, right? And so, but if you go and you look up Aleister Crowley here, he was an English occultist and a magician. As a matter of fact, he was a novelist and a Satanist. He considered himself the most wicked man in the world, and he prided himself on that. And it's a picture of him there. Very evil. Actually, it looks like Curly Joe to me. I don't know. Yeah. But we're talking about super evil. And so all of these people are related in a way in the occult. And so the occult has taken hold of America. And that's what's going on. Here it is, Aleister Crowley's story behind the wickedest man in the world. That's what he said. He was I'm the most wicked man in the world. And he didn't worry about it. He didn't care about being part of the most wicked man in the world and corrupting the minds of children and you know, all of the things that he was involved in. And of course, the Beatles were right there with him. They supported him. They you know, again, this is what they were trying to do: establish Satanism. And Satanism was established by the CIA and dark ops operatives in the United States. Let's go back to what Candace is saying here, and then we'll finish out with what she's talking about here.
Involving the Beatles. And so now you get to this point that you have this person who was a tailor for the Beatles, who's now at the top of Universal Music Group. And I would imagine that he'd be a person that I'd want to speak to, at the very least, who's changed his name, to figure out what is happening with Diddy. So yeah, when I look at this entire picture, what's clear to me is that Trump is once again being instructed to cover up a blackmail operation. Okay, that is what's happening. Trump is once again being instructed to cover up a state blackmail operation. And the question is why? And the answer to that is likely because knowing that our government funds drug parties and sex parties and potentially allows underage girls to be at those parties in order for them to ultimately control our perception by blackmailing those people in the attendance of the parties.
Yeah. But they really time their stuff good, don't they, on YouTube? It's amazing. And again, I get they're gonna let this run on Candace's channel, but the reason I couldn't play it on mine is because what happens is that when your channel is small, they're gonna mess with you more. Candace, they're not gonna really mess with her too much because they make more money off of showing her content than they do off of giving her a strike for this kind of content.
Sure, not for the faint of heart, but the expectation, if you are going to say that you are committed to dismembering the deep state, if you are going to really say that and run on that and run on Epstein and run on the corruption of DC and referring to it as a swamp as you did, and then you get into the swamp and you start to cover up for the swamp, like nothing to see here. And we're like, that looks like a Loch Ness monster. Like nothing to see here. Then you're going to lose your supporters. And I get it. You don't care. You don't care. You're like, supporters, be gone. I don't care at all. And maybe you're only in this for your legacy. But I was saying to Tucker Carlson yesterday that I would almost appreciate it if they didn't, if they didn't put on this pretense. I would almost appreciate it if they just said, we rule over you, haha, we have power, and there's absolutely nothing that you can do about it. That would feel more honest to me than pretending like they're trying to fix the system that's broken.
Yeah, because they don't go by the Constitution of the United States. They don't operate that way. Either way, we're going to get out of here. The one to just share with you, I told you I'll be on another 30 minutes. We get off and you let me know what you think. Again, share the video, get it out, get Candace's video and share it, and let people to see what's going on, because it's just a bunch of it's a big sham. It's as bad as it was during COVID. Only now I think that they know that their time is short. The day is coming to an end. I don't think that there'll be another presidency. I really don't. I don't think that there's going to be anything after this. They're going to turn everything over to this. They're going to turn everything over to this AI system. And this AI system is going to enforce this mark eventually. And the Elon Musk has been talking about this universal basic income. So they already know what they have planned. That's the reason they're burning this thing down. Courts, judges, lawyers, people who are experts in just about any field, history teachers, all of that would be turned over to AI. And Trump was saying, we're going to fix it so good that you won't have to vote anymore. And so I think that's where we're going. They don't really care. They're going to try to get all their friends out and put them in a special setting and leave the rest of us out here starving and eating Soylent Green or something like that. Anyway, pray for us, pray for the future, because it really is looking very bleak. Yeah, as Trump said, you never have to vote again. I don't get it. I don't think we're going to be voting no more. I think that, this may be it, but I could be wrong. We'll see. Either way, stay prayerful. We're going to get out of here, and God bless you all. Have a good night.